The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.
Spinal adjustments provided by Dr. Chad Rolfson. The Spinal Tuning Chiropractic Center is a Des Moines area low flat fee per month unlimited chiropractic care practice. When life happens, just adjust. Schedule today at spinaltuning.com. Barbecue provided by Kenny's Rib Wagon, catering ribs for your pleasure and serving daily at Plaza Pub, 62nd and Douglas in Des Moines, across from Merle Hay Mall. Find Kenny's Rib Wagon on Facebook. It's Bible story time, 1 Kings 3:1 through 28. Solomon made an alliance with the king of Egypt by marrying his daughter. He brought her to live in David's city until he had finished building his palace. The temple and the wall around Jerusalem, a temple had not yet been built for the Lord, and so the people were still offering sacrifices at many different altars. Solomon loved the Lord and followed the instructions of his father David. But he also slaughtered animals and offered them as sacrifices on various altars. On one occasion, he went to Gibeon to offer sacrifices because that was where the most famous altar was. He had offered hundreds of burnt offerings there in the past. That night, the Lord appeared to him in a dream and asked him, "What would you like me to give you?" Solomon answered, "You always show great love for my father David, your servant. And he was good, loyal, and honest in his relation with you, and you have continued to show him your great and consistent love by giving him a son who today rules in his place. Oh, Lord God, you have let me succeed my father as a king. Even though I am very young and I do not know how to rule, here I am among the people you have chosen to be your own, a people who are so many that they cannot be counted. So give me the wisdom I need to rule your people with justice and to know the difference between good and evil. Otherwise, how would I ever be able to rule this great of people of yours?" Now, the Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for this. And so he said to him, "Because you have asked for the wisdom to rule justly, instead of long life for yourself or riches or the death of your enemies, I will do what you have asked. I will give you more wisdom and understanding than anyone has ever had before or will ever have again. I will also give you what you have not asked for all your life. You will have wealth and honor, more than any other king. And if you obey me and keep my laws and commands, as your father David did, I will give you a long life." Solomon woke up and realized that God had spoken to him in the dream. Then he went to Jerusalem and stood in front of the Lord's covenant box and offered burnt offerings and fellowship offerings to the Lord. And after that, he gave a feast for all his officials. One day, 2 prostitutes came and presented themselves before King Solomon. One of them said, "Your Majesty, this woman and I live in the same house, and I gave birth to a baby boy at home while she was there. 2 days after my child was born, she gave birth to a baby boy. Only the 2 of us were there in the house. No one else was present. Then one night she accidentally rolled over on her baby and smothered it. She got up during the night, took my son from my side while I was asleep, and carried him to her bed. Then she put the dead child in my bed. The next morning, when I woke up and was going to nurse my baby, I saw that it was dead. I looked at it more closely and saw it was not my child." But the other woman said, "No, the living child is mine and the dead one is yours." Well, the first woman answered back, "No, the dead child is yours and the living one is mine." And so they argued before the king. And King Solomon said, "Each of you claims that the living child is hers, and that the dead child belongs to the other one." He sent for a sword, and when it was brought, he said, "Cut the living child in 2 and give each woman half of it." The real mother, her heart full of love for her son, said to the king, "Please, your majesty, don't kill the child. Give it to her." But the other woman said, "Don't give it to either of us. Go on, cut it in 2. Then Solomon said, "Don't kill the child. Give it to the first woman. She is the real mother." When the people of Israel heard of Solomon's decision, they were all filled with deep respect for him, because they knew then that God had given him the wisdom to settle disputes fairly. 1 Kings 3, 1 through 28. If you enjoyed this story, share it on social media. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter, both at My Buddy Jimmy, and on YouTube at My Buddy Jimmy 101.
The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.